It is Monday, which means it is time to start a new week's reading vlog. I somehow didn't even think I was going to get here today. It is extremely late, nearly midnight, but I just made it in. So let's jump right in. I don't want to spend too much time doing this, but I have a lot to talk about. I have finished The Fires of Vengeance, and I gotta be honest, I'm happy that I did. You never really want to read a book that you're just trying to get through for the sake of finishing it, but I got to that point where I was just wanting to get it done. I'm glad I got it done. I don't think it's amazing. I don't think it's terrible. I honestly think it landed in the middle. I gave Rage of Dragons, book 1 in this series, 4 stars. I'm giving this book 3 stars. I won't continue on with the series. Nothing against Evan Winter at all. I think it's fine. It's just, I don't know, it's just not the series for me. I think there were moments that were compelling that I found enjoyable, and then there were other moments where I felt like I was just dipping out of it, zoning out of the book, and you don't want that with a reading experience. So I won't continue forward with the series. Let's talk about Twilight. This is the final Mr. Francy buddy read book of the month. I am there, which is 112 pages into this book that is 434 pages long. So I'm about a quarter of the way in, let's say, roughly, and it's been good. I have read this series a couple of times, and I've seen at least the first film probably 3 times at least. So going through this reread for the first time since beginning my booktube channel, it's more just memories coming back to me about what the story was about. So if you have read this book before, I just got up to the part where Jacob was walking along the beach with Bella, telling her about the Quileutes and their connection to wolves. So yeah, we've met Edward, we've just recently met Jacob, and I'm enjoying it so far. I don't have any complaints. I love the scenes with Edward and Bella. I'm not really so intrigued about anything outside of Edward and Bella, though. So her time with her dad, or definitely her time with her friends, doesn't really, it just doesn't appeal to me. Her time with her other friends, her mortal friends, I guess. But it's okay so far. Yeah, if I was done now, I'd give it 5 stars. I've also started, since I finished Fires of Vengeance, I've started this bad boy, Into the Drowning Deep by Mira Grant. I went into this book with a bit of trepidation, not because it's a horror. I'm fine reading horrors. I don't like watching them, but I'm fine reading them. But because I didn't know if it was something that I would like. And the premise of this book, at least what I can tell you from what I've read so far, which is, I'm up to there, which is page 149, is that we are following a large cast of characters. And that was a bit overwhelming to begin with, but the basic story is that a long time ago, there were these people who went out on a voyage somewhere, and people died, and they're trying to work out why. The rumor is that mermaids killed them, but no one knows if this is true or not. So a scientific team has been brought together of many, many, many people, of which we are following 8 of them at the moment, or 8 or 9. So that's what I mean, large cast of characters. And they are going out to the same spot to see if it in fact was mermaids, or to answer the questions of how or why these people died. So I went into this book because it's an adult book. I've been struggling with my adult reads this month, which isn't like me because I'm happy to read middle grade YA adult. Usually I don't have an issue with them, but this month my adult reads haven't been as good, but I'm really enjoying this one. Once I got past dealing with the multiple amount of characters that we're following and getting on board with that, I actually like the story. I find it really intriguing. Plus, we're on a ship. Like, for those of you who don't know, I don't like nautical stories, but I love this. This has been fantastic. So I hope it continues to go that way. We will see how we go. It is Wednesday, which means it is time for a mid-week check-in. I hope you guys are doing well and getting through your third? I don't even know. Getting through your October well anyway. Alright, Into the Drowning Deep update. I am there, which is 352 pages in to this 484 page book. So I'm about 132 pages away from being done, which is good. My goal is to finish this over the course of the next 2 days. So to finish this on Friday. Yeah, look, I'll go this way. This book has been pretty good on the whole. So far, it's a 4-star read. It has been pretty good for the most part. So I have to say, I'm enjoying it. And the chapter I just left off, man, did I want to keep reading. Because seriously, we just had a moment where it was like, oh, and then that happened. And oh my gosh, now I have to do my reading vlog. So I'm loving it. Oh yeah, it's starting to really heat up. Now with Twilight, I'm nowhere near where I want to be. I am there, which is 207 pages in. That's because I still have more reading time to do, but this is the only time I have to do my reading vlog. I'm talking a bit louder because we've got lots of noise going on in the background, so I'm overcompensating. My goal was to get 300 pages in today and to finish this book off tomorrow. I will still get there. It's just currently I'm there 207, so that's 100 pages away. I will just do that after I finish this vlog, so I'll still do it today. And then on Friday, I can talk to you about having wrapped this and this both up. So far, loving this, and this has been a really nostalgic read, and I'm really appreciating it. At the moment, 4.5 stars, 4 stars. They're good reads. Be interesting to see how the ending goes. I'll catch you guys on Friday for the penultimate check-in. It is Friday, which means it's time to check in with another reading vlog. I have finished both Into the Drowning Deep and Twilight. We're going to talk about this one first, because I just finished this, where I finished this one yesterday. Okay, well actually, something I found out after finishing the book, so I found this out moments ago. This is actually book 2 in a series. I did not know this. Apparently there's a book 1 that comes first, and that makes sense because in book 1, something went down. In book 2, we're following Tori. In book 1, something happened to her sister. And in this book, book 2, Tori's trying to work out what exactly happened to her. I thought that this book was probably... Actually, it is my favourite adult book I've read so far this month, because I've had a lot of trouble with my adult books. I've had moments with this book that I truly enjoyed. I've had moments with this book where I haven't enjoyed it. And then today, getting through the final part of the book, it was more, I just wanted to get it done, which you never want to be in that situation. And I was with the Tower of Fools in that situation. With this one, it was more... Okay, I'm ready to be done with this and move on to something else now. I think it was more that the first half of the book was written so well. The anticipation of what was going to happen, being that it's a horror, we know something's going to go down. What was going to happen was written so well. But then the execution of that thing actually happening was a bit of a letdown for me. Do people die? Yes. Are the consequences real? Absolutely. But it still felt anticlimactic to me. So, look, I'm going to give this book an average star rating, which, had you asked me this in our last check-in, I definitely would have said that's not the case, but I have bumped it down. I'm going to give it 3 stars because I think the first half was fantastic. I think the second half had some flaws for me personally that I just didn't agree with. So 3 stars from me. It's an okay book. Will I continue on with the series? No. Will I go back and read book 1? No. But does that make it a bad book? Not at all. So yesterday, I finished Twilight, and I'm so happy with this book. You guys. So... I have said, well, I said this in my October TBR, and I'm going to reiterate it again here. I went into reading this book for the first time, and I worked out it's been 10 years since I've read this book. So I've read it a few times, but it's been a decade. So I went into this book for one reason and one reason only, and that was now that I'm on booktube and that I'm reading with a much more critical mind, I want to go into this book and read it critically and give it a critical star rating that it deserves. Stephanie Meyer, the author of this book, didn't allow me to do that. To begin with, I was filled with a lot of nostalgia, remembering certain things from the book and also from the movie, but then the more the book went along, the more I found myself drowning within this book, but I hope you'll forgive me for this metaphor, willingly drowning in this book, allowing this book to just wash over me. It was just so beautiful and so beautifully written is what I'm trying to say, because it's a dark story for YA, but beautifully written. And it's just such an enticing read that it was so easy for me to get lost in this book. And every time I put it down, I would have a moment where I'd come back to myself and think, Mr. Francy, you were going into this to try and critically analyze it. When have you done that? And I honestly haven't done it, because every time I would go back to reading this book, I would just allow the wave to wash over me, and I was just enjoying the book for what it was. This book is getting 5 stars from me. Not only that, but for the first time in a very long time in my booktube career, I'm actually altering my November TBR. I've taken a book off of my November TBR. Don't worry, it's not a buddy read, but I've taken a book off of my November TBR and have ordered, hopefully it's going to get here really quickly, I've ordered New Moon, book number 2, and I'm reading it next month. I need more Twilight. So that's the update. I will check in with you guys again tomorrow to wrap up this week. It is Saturday, which means it's time to wrap up this week's reading. This has been a particularly tough day for me, so I'm just going to try and get through this reading vlog as best as I can. We're already off to a good start. Today I had an appointment to go and get my first vaccine for COVID. So I got the Pfizer vaccine, dose number 1, and to start with, I'm someone who doesn't like needles. So that was something. And then, if that wasn't enough, after I finally got the vaccination, there's a rule at my clinic where everyone has to kind of sit down as soon as they've had it in the waiting room for 15 minutes, just, for observation or whatever, and then, they can tell the receptionist it's been 15 minutes and then they can go home. The moment that I sat back down in the waiting room, I started feeling nauseous right away. I felt myself going pale. I had cold sweats. It was just insane. Seriously, the moment I sat back down in the waiting room. So, yeah, I ultimately spoke to the doctor about it, and the doctor thinks that I worked myself up quite a bit because of my fear of needles, and believes that I end up working myself into a panic attack that presented itself after I'd had it. So there you go. That's fun. And so came back home after that and just I've been feeling all sorts of weird, but I continued on with my reading. And as you guys saw with my last video, my top 10 tips for how to get through your TBR, no matter how you're feeling, audiobooks can help you. Tip number 10, and Mr. Francy took his own advice. So I did still do some reading today. Let's talk about what I've read. I have not only started, but made quite a run into A Whole New World by Liz Braswell. It's funny, her name is literally not on the cover. So I literally have to go inside the book to find her name. Anyway, I am there, which is 194 pages in, which is a really good start for me. I plan to get to the 200 page mark, but 194 pages is where a new chapter begins, and I just started this book today, so that's a lot of progress for me. The basic premise of A Whole New World is that it is an Aladdin retelling based on the Aladdin original Disney version, so the animated version, which is my favourite Disney film of all time. And the first sixth of this book definitely read like Aladdin, and it was so good. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, I'm finally getting the book I want, because the only way to get Aladdin is to read a compendium of 1001 Arabian Nights. This book, the first sixth, was exactly what happens in the film. And I was just like, oh my god, I've got the book I wanted. But then, for those of you who have seen the film, this book is exactly the same as the film until the point that Aladdin gives Jafar the lamp. As you may recall with the film, Abu steals the lamp from Jafar, and so once the cave closes with just the Cave of Wonders closes with just Aladdin, the magic carpet, and Abu trapped in the cave. They're trapped in the cave with the lamp. This time, when Aladdin gives Jafar the lamp, Abu does not steal it, and so Aladdin, Abu, and the carpet are trapped inside the cave. Jafar has the lamp, and this book explores what happens with Jafar now having the lamp and Aladdin being trapped in the Cave of Wonders. But everything that came before that point is still canonically a part of this book as it was in the original film. So I appreciated that. Oh, Jafar is so evil and so maniacal and just so crazy, and I love him. He is my favourite villain of all time, and he's worse in this book than, in a good way for a villain, he's worse in this book than he was in the film. Just like, so much going on. But, yeah, I'm enjoying it. The creative liberties taken to make this the retelling that it is has been interesting to read, and at the moment it's been a really breezy, easy read. I've also made a small start on Original Sin by Lisa. Oh gosh, they said her name in the audiobook and I've already forgotten. This is a YA fantasy book number 2 in the Personal Demons series. I read Personal Demons book 1 back in January of 2020, and now I'm finally picking up book number 2. What I am happy about with myself is that I remember Personal Demons quite well because it was a very original type of book. Unlike other books in series that I've read before, particularly with YA, there are little recollections of, hi, I'm this person and this is what happened to me, just in case you didn't pick up book number 1, But not with this book. There's no holding of your hand. We are just plugging along and moving forward from where we left off with book 1. So far, I'm okay with it, and we'll see how we go. I'm hoping to do a review of these 2 books if I don't wake up with any side effects tomorrow from the vaccine. Otherwise, you guys might not have a video tomorrow on Monday to watch, so we'll see how we go. But anyway, if you don't have a video on Monday, now you know why. So that is that. These are the books that I have either finished or started during the course of this week. I hope you guys had an amazing week this week. Thank you so much for watching. I post videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and I'll see you again soon. Mwah. Thank you so much for all of the support that you guys have been giving me as well. I appreciate all of your likes and comments. They've just been absolutely wonderful, so thank you again. And of course, happy reading!